Ellerby here on a Monday. Shirley Rhodes, intern Jarrett, Sean, the birthday boy, big dog, Glenn Griffin. Fired up, Ellerby. Another day closer to Pirate football, another day closer to the Pirate Radio Football Kickoff Party.
Yeah, absolutely. Getting excited for August the 29th. Excited for our guest that is on the Pirate Radio live line to land back in Greenville for the first time in a long time. Let's go out to the live line and welcome former East Carolina Pirate and American Idol star Blake Proehl. Blake, how you been, buddy?
I'm great. How are you guys?
We're doing a lot better now. We tripped the power cord in the studio, so we kind of had a turnover, I guess that's what you would call in the football business. So that would have been not fun to have a great guest like you on the program and not be able to talk to you. But we're getting excited for August the 29th, man. I feel like we spoke about this so long ago, and now it's starting to set in. It's going to be a reality here before we know it.
Yeah, man, I can't wait. It's been long overdue. I haven't been back in Greenville, and I'm excited to come home for a little bit. I'm excited to see everybody.
Well, Blake, give us an update on the music career. You got some exciting stuff coming up, right?
Yeah, man. We've announced a tour coming up, so we're doing a bunch of kind of, backlog stuff with that and the marketing stuff, and then I got a single coming out that I'm announcing tomorrow. So I guess this is kind of an announcement itself, but I'm posting like a sneak peek of that. I'm kind of going a little bit more pop country now, and I've been writing in Nashville. So, yeah, it's a new single, and I'm singing it at the Pirate Radio party, so I'm excited about that.
Awesome.
Wow, so you're launching this single official. Where can people find all the information about this on Tuesday?
Yeah, so it'll be on my social media platforms, so Instagram and TikTok primarily. I'll post like a little promo of it, and yeah, I'm excited. It actually comes out, I think we decided on Labor Day weekend, which is kind of crazy just because the party and everything, so I'm really excited about that.
This is timing out perfect.
Yeah.
So this is a new single that you wrote, and
yes.
And you're going to launch it on Tuesday. You're going to perform it Thursday, August the 29th. What other details can you release to us today, to Pirate Nation here?
Well, it's other than that, it's really, there's really nothing else to announce besides it's coming out that night, which is actually crazy to think about. I actually just putting that together right now, so that's really exciting. It's called Crazy Stupid Love. It's just like a classic, like, end your summer, like, country bop, honestly. It's, like, probably my favorite song I've ever written. Has the best energy I've ever written, and it'll be really fun live, too, so I'm excited to perform it at the party. So
the first time people will see it live, I guess, will be at the State Theater, at the Pirate Radio party, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Man, if you haven't gotten your tickets already, definitely log on to our website and see this debut of Blake Proehl and his new song. Would you say Crazy Stupid Love?
Yeah, Crazy Stupid Love.
It feels like a lot of the way Pirate fans feel about the Pirates. It's kind of crazy at times. Sometimes it feels stupid, but at the end of the day, it's a true love.
It's just love.
Yeah.
Hey, it's fitting, very fitting.
That's awesome. And tell us about this summer. You've been touring. I saw news you've been back up in Minnesota where you were with the Vikings. I guess you got a big following up there, but you've been performing. Give us the 411 on Blake Proehl this summer.
Yeah, man, I had a couple headline shows. I did Charlotte, and then I went up to Minnesota about 2 weeks later, and it was amazing. Just for me to kind of get my feet wet and put, my foot in the door for live shows is exciting. And since music is still relatively new to me, after Idol especially, I've wanted to after Idol, it made me really motivated to kind of get out on the road. So that's why hence the tour coming up in the fall and all that stuff. So, yeah, I've just been doing shows and writing and just the classic artist stuff, It's a crazy behind the scenes. It's a lot of work behind the scenes that people don't get to see, and so that's why I try to share on social media. But, yeah, I've just been grinding and kind of developing as an artist and getting out there on the road and seeing people live, so...
Blake Proehl before he performs on stage versus Blake Proehl before he runs out of a tunnel for a football game. Two different people, or there's a lot of similarities of what's about to happen?
Yeah. Honestly, man, this is a really great question because nobody's really asked me that, like the before, like the pregame type of mentality. It's really funny when I started music, like last year when I had my first ever headline show in Minnesota. Like you can ask my band, I was like full on like pregame like ritual, like I was about to play a football game, and like musicians are really chill. Like they're usually just chilling, eating pizza, like laughing, like everybody's like vibing in the green room, and I'm like locked in, like staring at a wall, like I'm about to go hit somebody or something. Like, and they're like, "Yo, like loosen up, dog. Like it's a show. Like this is fun. Like we chilling." And football, like for me, like it was obviously like it's something that I loved since I was a kid. So I loved it to death. But it was like a business trip for me. Like every time we stepped out on the field, you know, Coach Houston used to preach that to us, and like we were locked in, like almost silence. Like it was fun, but it's like it's at the same time, it's like this is a business trip, and that's how I was like looking at it. And this year it's completely different. Like I'm starting to evolve. Like man, music is fun. Like people are here to party and have fun, and it's a whole different world. And I'm learning that. But at first it was not that way at all. So it's pretty funny to watch.
That was a good pregame there question. How about like game time? Like can a crowd hype you up and maybe take you to another level like it did when you were playing in front of a big crowd in football?
Sure. 100%, dude. Like a lot of times in my rehearsals, like, you know, I'm performing to like a wall or like an empty venue when I'm rehearsing with the band, and it's like, all right, like I feel good. This is how I'm going to feel. And then you get out there, like, especially in Minnesota a week and a half ago, like when I got up on stage, it just like ignites a whole different, like I almost call it like an alter ego. Like I'm like, I don't know who that was, but like he's dope. Like I like him. Like he's cool. It's the crowd was amazing in Minneapolis, and yeah, I would say it definitely brings out a different person for sure.
So what are you looking at when you're on the stage? Because everybody's looking at you. What is where do your eyes go when you're up on stage?
Dude, honestly, like at first, like I said, like you'll notice a lot of the stories when people ask me about live stuff. I've just evolved so much in a live setting as an artist. Like my first show, I remember when I got up there, I was like, oh shoot, like I didn't know this is what it was gonna feel like. Like all these people are staring at me. Like why is everybody staring at me? And it was like funny because I would like look out into. It's hard to see on stage usually depending on the venue because the lights and stuff. But I would just kind of look out. But now, dude, I love seeing people live and their faces and like singing at people and kind of like relating to them live. So really, I mean, I'm connecting with the people there. Like, I love just interacting with the people who are physically right in front of me.
How about fans, Blake, and something that as a football player, especially here at ECU, you become a local celebrity and people recognize you, and you got a famous last name to start with anyway. So you've probably been receiving some attention most of your life. But how about that part of it? Fans can be overbearing. At the same time, it can be great to connect one-on-one. So how do you kind of handle that? You're going to have a lot of fanfare no matter where you go, but especially there in Minnesota, especially here in Greenville. So how do you handle all that?
You know, for me, like, it doesn't change anything. Like, I'm still Blake, and however far God takes this, like, career for me, I'm still just going to be Blake. And, you know, I never look at myself above anybody else. So, you know, if somebody is a fan or of some sort has crossed paths with me, like, I'm just going to be me, like, regardless. Just kind of the silly, like, jock type of kid who's now singing. Like, it doesn't change anything. There's nothing weird. I think I've gotten used to it a little bit, especially after Idol and during Idol especially. I wasn't used to walking in like a grocery store and sometimes somebody would be like, oh my gosh, are you the kid that was on Idol? Like, are you? And I would be like, oh wow, like somebody like, what, you watch Idol? Like, you know what I mean? I didn't realize the magnitude of that. But for me, man, it's just a human to human interaction. Like, it's nothing different, and I love it, dude. It motivates me all the time and inspires me. So I think it's just an opportunity to help other people and relate to people, really.
Blake, can you tell us about the process of writing songs? That seems to be really. I mean, it's one thing to perform and sing, and a lot of people do that and do perform other people's songs, but you're writing your own music. How does that process start, and do you enjoy it, and what's the time length it takes to get a good song written?
Yeah, writing music is definitely a skill that I think you evolve in and learn. Just like most things, like it's hard to, you have to practice it. It's like learning how to run routes. I like to compare it to. Like, you have to get reps in. So a lot of times for me, my management puts me on writing trips. So I'm in rooms in Nashville and LA most of the time. Like, I have one in August the week before I come up for the Pirate Radio party, and I'll write probably 5 to 10 songs while I'm there. And I'm in rooms with labels like Sony, Big Machine, and all these labels with their writers and producers. And I bring, a lot of times my process is, when I have downtime like I am right now in Charlotte, I'll write either a hook or a melody or maybe a concept that I think is really cool, and I'll bring them to sessions and be like, hey, this is what I have. I really like this melody that I wrote, this music, and then you kind of collaborate with a writer or producer and you make it kind of one song. So that's my favorite process. Writing on your own is definitely how you evolve and get better, but I think collabing with other people is like the best form of art, in my opinion. So that's kind of how I write.
How many songs have you written so far?
In total, I would say close to, I only have like, I think 6 songs out, but I've written probably close to like 100.
So what do? You just kind of wait on the right music to find you, or?
Exactly. Like,
yeah.
For me, I'm always trying to beat like my favorite song I've written. So like the next song, Crazy Stupid Love, that's coming out, it's for sure my favorite song and best song that I've ever written. Like, it's a very catchy melody. The instrumentation of it is amazing. Like, the entire song, you're head bobbing. Like, it's very, it keeps you in it the whole song. And as I've evolved over the last 3 years since I've gotten into music and writing, like, I would say only half of the songs have that element to it. So like for me, it's, even though I've written 100, that doesn't mean all of those are release worthy. Like, that's kind of part of the process I'm talking about of writing and like getting through that. Because for every like 10 songs you write, like one might be releasable or one might be good enough to see the light of day. And that's what I mean by just writing and just like, you know, every once in a while you're just going to have a great song that you're excited to release. But this whole next year, like, I plan on releasing back to back now that I'm a full-time artist. So it won't be as long of a waiting game as it has been.
So when I think you referenced earlier your band, Blake. So when you're playing and touring and things like that, will you be playing with the same drummer and guitarist and all that, or will there be, you know, other people playing your music? How does that work?
That's a really good question. So I have a band. So the band that I've played with mostly in Minneapolis is the same band. It kind of, I think if I get to a certain point where if I decide to sign with a label, I'll have a band that's with me regardless of what state I'm in. But right now I'm kind of with, like, I have a band that's East Coast oriented and I have one that's Midwest. And obviously the Pirate Radio Kickoff party, I'm playing with the band that's already there. So like, I don't have a specific band that's with me like every single show. It depends on where I'm at.
Blake, what's the thing you've learned the most about the music business that you didn't really know?
That's a really good question. I would say what I didn't realize with the music business is that it's a really, really, really small world. Like, it seems like such a huge industry, and it is in the scale of like, just like, everybody hears about the music industry and all the things that come with it. But the writers, producers, the artists, the labels, like, it's actually a really small world. Like, I'll walk in a session and I'll write a song and they're like, yeah, I actually play guitar. Like, I'll be like, oh, I really like this song as a reference. Like, oh, I play guitar on that one. And it's like Justin Bieber's song or Morgan Wallen's. Like, a vocal coach I worked with the other day, she's Morgan Wallen's vocal coach. I had no idea. Like, anybody you meet could know freaking Taylor Swift, or like, it's all like, everybody's connected in the smallest way. It's just a small world. And I think that's where you have to, you know, relationships are really important, and being yourself in sessions and just growing those relationships are huge, and just getting connected in the industry in general.
You've been in two spaces that a lot of people want to get to, the NFL and then in the music industry. Are they comparable? Is one harder than the other to be a part of? How do you give the perspective to someone that wanted to be in either or both?
Yeah, I think, you know, so I'll answer the question, which one's harder. They're so different. Obviously, it depends on how far you want to make it. Like, there's different levels to it. Like, I would compare making it to the NFL, like, less than 1%, as making it to a point where you're like a touring artist and you're selling out venues like on a world tour of like, even if it's just like 1,000 to 2,000 cap rooms, which are like pretty big. Like when I first started music, like, or before I started music, I thought you didn't really make it unless you were in like an arena. But realistically, like, there's only a handful of artists in the entire world who can do that. And so I would say making it to the NFL is, this is such a good question, dude. There's so many different levels to it. I would say football, for me, came easier because I did it my entire life. But this music and the just being an artist is probably harder in the sense that I don't have like the confidence that I can like lean into that I did in the beginning. So like now I have the confidence that I needed more in the beginning, like when I was on Idol and stuff like that. But oh man, that's a really good question, dude. I might have to come back with that one. I would say football is probably harder in the sense of like making it to the league.
You can give us an update when you're here on August the 29th. How about that?
Yeah, I'll answer that better. I'll think about it. That's a really, really good question.
Blake, the hot topic in college sports right now is NIL, the name, image, and likeness. And I was thinking about that from a music standpoint. I watched a documentary recently on Netflix about like the boy band craze and the manager taking advantage of the guys in NSYNC and Backstreet Boys and all that. So like in October, if I clip Brock record Crazy Stupid Love and sell it here on Pirate Radio as my song, I'm pretty sure you can sue me for that. How do you maybe this is a good question for your manager or your people, but how do you make sure that you're not being taken advantage of? And also at the same time, if you are at a show and you do an awesome cover or record a cover, you know, you got to clear that. There's a lot of that probably not so fun stuff you got to think about too when it comes to all this. Yeah,
dude, that is for sure a question for my management, but they do all that stuff. Like when they upload my music for me. So like Crazy Stupid Love, for example, they'll upload it, and you actually upload a song a month in advance. So like technically, to get playlisting and all that stuff, you have to upload your song to like through a distributing company. I think there's different like services, and I think they cover like, I don't know if the song is like patented, like dude, right. I have no idea, but I do know that protects you because the song comes out on all streaming platforms under your name and licensing and through like, I think some sort of like a contract or some sort. So that's definitely a management question, but like I couldn't give you the exact details, but I know that you're protected when you go through like a streaming service.
Blake, college football is right around the corner. Do you have time to dive into what East Carolina football is going to be like, or what professional football is going to be like? How much time do you spend following football as it creeps near?
Yeah, dude. First of all, I'm insanely excited for ECU. I've been, following as much as I can on social media. It's definitely getting a little cloudy for me on players because a lot of players that I played with are kind of now like fully weeding out. There's a couple left. But I'm excited to get down there and kind of see the team and meet the guys. I know there's some transfers, some young kids. I'm excited to see just the new talent. I'm sure. I'm wondering, can you guys give me like a little update on who we're excited about? Any newcomers?
Well, I was going to say, Blake, you're not the only one, because when you look at the offense this year, outside of the running backs and O-line, it is going to look almost completely new. So a ton of new faces, excited about some new receivers, Chase Sowell returning, but the newcomers, Winston Wright and Anthony Smith, and then the tight end, Casey Kelly's, Chad Kelly's brother, Jim Kelly's nephew. So he comes in, and so we got new weapons at quarterback. Caden Hauser from Michigan State, Jake Garcia from Missouri are battling it out right now. So we got a quarterback battle. But hey, you're like a lot of Pirate fans. You're kind of wondering what the offense is going to look like. New coordinator John David Baker as well. So it's going to look completely different from last year offensively. I can tell you that.
Yeah, man, I'm excited, dude. I'm excited, new beginnings, and hopefully Coach Houston can get back on track. And yeah, dude, I'm excited. I'm excited, new offensive coordinator. Like, I want to see how he's going to throw that thing. Hopefully he can air that thing out with the quarterback. So I'm excited to watch that on this season. So
I guess maybe what was Rajay or Deontay or Elijah Morris? Were they here when you were here, Blake?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Elijah Morris was, and Rajay was there. So
Yeah.
I'm excited for those. Rajay is my guy, so I'm hoping he can stay healthy and have a great year, and hopefully, get into the league next year.
Is it correct that this will be the first time you'll be back in the stadium? Since you left?
Let's see. I did go to – when did I go? I went to a game. It hasn't been all the way since I've left. I went to the state game. I want to say, was it 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
When Holton was playing, and CJ had that touchdown on a seam ball. I was there for that game. So that's the last time I've been there. So 2 years, I think.
What's your favorite memory as a Pirate? One play. What do you got?
Favorite memory as a Pirate? Okay, well, there's two things. My favorite play is different than favorite memory. Favorite memory is for sure beating Carolina in Dowdy Ficklen, just because, my brother went to Carolina, and I hate Carolina, with every ounce of my being. And then also, my favorite play, that's hard. There's a few, but I would say, honestly, my last game against SMU, it was COVID, so there wasn't really a crowd, which sucks, but Tyler Sneed threw me a double pass, and that was my roommate and one of my best friends. So that was pretty cool, and it was my last game ever. So that was cool to kind of finish off that way with my roommate and also a really close friend.
Tyler Sneed doing big things post East Carolina up in Canada.
He won a championship.
Awesome to see.
Yeah.
Blake, while I got you here, I do have a question. I was going to ask you a couple of receiver-related questions, so I'll bypass the ECU one and just go to the Vikings question. I don't know if any receiver, is quarterback-proof, but we might learn it this year with Justin Jefferson, who I do say is worth all the hype. He'll make 1, 2, 3 catches every Sunday with 3 guys around him, and it's just incredible. But some quarterback questions there with Kirk Cousins gone for your old team in Minnesota right now. Sam Darnold, the veteran, J.J. McCarthy, the young guy. So this is partly a Vikings question, partly a fantasy football question. How much do you trust Justin Jefferson to have another tremendous year? And what do you think about that passing game with some different quarterbacks there in Minnesota?
Dude, that guy, Justin, man, he's, first of all, unbelievable player. That's my boy. We still talk as much as we can. I literally gritted on stage for him the other day and sent him the video, which is hilarious. But he's just a great, humble dude. A lot of stuff that people don't realize is the off-the-field stuff, when you're a humble kid like he is, but you work that hard and practice that hard and have that talent, when you combine all of that together, that's when you get, a Hall of Fame football player, and that's what Justin is. I don't know if you guys watched Receiver on Netflix, but they show a little bit behind the scenes and just how hard he works. To have that talent and to practice that hard and care that much is just a crazy combination. And for him, he's going to do well every year. If he stays healthy, you could put me at quarterback, and if I just throw it near him, he's catching that thing. So, you got Sam Darnold or McCarthy, whoever it is, he's going to ball out, and he's in a great system. Coach O'Connell is, a great coach, especially for the offense and scheming up stuff, especially for JJ. And I'm telling you, if you can draft him in fantasy or whatever it is, whatever's going on, if you're legally betting or whatever, I would bet on Justin Jefferson 100% of the time.
There you go. And things have changed around here. Now you can legally bet in the state of North Carolina, Blake Proehl. So I'll keep that in mind.
Okay, that's good. I had to say that I didn't want to say something wrong, so I was just, treading lightly.
Nah, you're all good. Well, we can't wait to have you down here Thursday, August the 29th. You're going to be here for the Pirate Radio Football Kickoff Party. Just announced in the last 30 minutes here on Pirate Radio, you're going to be singing your single you're releasing tomorrow for the first time, Crazy Stupid Love, at the party. And you're going to be here all weekend. You're going to be hanging out with the Pirate Radio crew on Friday, Saturday. So great opportunity for folks to come hear Blake Proehl Thursday, August the 29th. Man, I am excited to have you.
Thank you guys so much. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you, Blake. Blake Proehl joining us at the Pirate Radio Football Kickoff Party. Going to be a blast. Ellery should have been Cowboys. Blake Proehl, the Pirate Radio crew, college football on. I'm sold.
I mean, what else do you need to know? And I believe, are the UNC Tar Heels playing that Thursday night?
They are like 2-point underdogs to Minnesota.
Right. And Blake just saying that he despises the Tar Heels more than anything.
And has those Minnesota ties.
And has Minnesota ties. So, I mean, we'll be like pulling for the Gophers, listening to
big
Blake.
Gopher fans.
Listen to Blake Proehl sing at the Pirate Radio Party. It's going to be a big night. Get your tickets on our website, pr927fm.com. It's going to be super exciting.